Most white supremacists say, who, me?
Yes.
I'm not a white supremacist. I don't believe in racism. I'm a nice guy. Hey, I'll shake your hand. You know, if you want a hug, I'll give it to you. You know, I don't believe in that stuff and all like that. And all the time he's wink, wink, wink.
Yeah.
All right? This is the modern day, the refined white supremacist. Mr. John Wayne apparently wasn't very refined. That's why I'm quite sure that the refined white supremacist said, hey, you know, we all feel that way.
Yeah.
But you don't say it out loud in this day and time. This is to be expected.
Yes, sir.
You should always expect. You're in a world dominated by racism. There's one government on the planet. That's the government of white supremacy. All of the so-called governments are just pretend governments. They seem like they're governments. The white supremacists make the major decisions among the people of this planet. Most of the people on this planet are classified as non-white. The major decisions that affect the everyday existence of anybody classified as non-white is going to be decided by racist man and racist woman, people who are sometimes, in a generic sense, called white supremacists, people who believe in mistreating people based on color. They're the smartest and most powerful people on this planet. So therefore, when he goes into the store, I mean, like I said just a few minutes ago, black people have been given the reputation of being potential thieves and robbers, you know, on a small-time level, because the greatest thieves are the white supremacists themselves. That's where we all learned it. I mean, because they steal whole continents, okay? So that takes care of that. I mean, you're talking about theft. I mean, they glorify thievery and robbery, but they pass it on to their slaves, to their victims. So therefore, we have that kind of reputation. So we should expect that. I expect to be profiled all the time. You should, you know, we're not in paradise. We are in a system of white supremacy worldwide.
Yes, sir.
If you have color in your skin, you are a prisoner of war already. To a prisoner of war walking up to a jewelry store, oh, sure, the doors are going to slam. And people are going to approach him with guns and say, what are you up to? You have color in your skin. You got a reputation. Your reputation is everything that's about not being somebody of any decency, of any correct intent. You people are throwaway people. You are a threat to our establishment anytime you show up without us sending for you. So therefore, you are eligible to be mistreated, pushed around, slammed to the ground, dislocated, forced to immigrate from one place to another because bombs are dropping all over the place.
Yes, sir.
This is what we do. And you don't understand this yet, you colored people of this planet? And we are doing it to you each and every day, all day, one way or another, in all areas of activity, economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. You are at war, or rather we are at war with you. Why? Because you are the incorrect color. You are the throwaway color. You're not even supposed to be here on the planet, but since you are here, we treat you like we want to treat you. Whatever sent you here must have made a mistake, because you people, you dark-skinned people, are a mistake in our eyes. The left muscle may come from the Creator. The many leaders, particularly religious leaders, say that's where their muscle is. They say they call on their Creator to settle all disputes. And I don't dispute that. I mean, because I'm not looking for an argument, a religious argument. So I say that, you know, if you get in trouble, your followers get in trouble and whatnot, you call on your Creator to straighten it all out. what you perceive to be your creator by whatever name, then it's straightened out. Because after all, the creator of this universe can straighten out anything. I wouldn't disagree with anybody on that. And if they are in tune with that creator, I'm quite sure if they are in tune, that whatever they ask that creator to do, the creator will do it instantly. Probably. Depends on what type of arrangement that particular leader has and what type of arrangement, what type of understanding that particular leader has with the creator. Because I've seen many people who say they have called on their creator, and evidently they must not have been on excellent terms with their creator, because the creator didn't do what they asked the creator to do. So that, but ultimately, whatever created all of us is our ultimate leader. But here on planetary Earth, the white supremacists have said, if you are a person that I have classified as non-white, I am your leader. And if you don't like it, I will prove to you that I am your leader by hurting you in all the different kind of ways that I can hurt people, and I got dozens and dozens and dozens of ways, which you well know. All of you black people know that I can hurt you anytime I want to. And a lot of you pray and all like that, but, your prayers are not answered. Haven't been answered so far when you get in trouble with me. So who is your real leader? Is it me? Or is it somebody up in the sky or on the other side of the universe? It seems like you always obey me. Because when you don't, I hurt you. And it seems like nobody's been able to stop me so far. Maybe down the road, somebody will. But so far, none of you black leaders have proven that whomever you call on is able to protect you from me. Protect you from other people, maybe, but not from me, the white supremacist. That's why I call myself a white supremacist. I'm supreme over one thing, and that's you. Any person who is in touch, whatever can free us from this, just do it. No one should try to stop you. No one should raise their voice to say, I don't believe you can do it. You don't know whether they can or not. So I just stand back. That's what I recommend in the code book and everything. Anybody who says, I'm going to take the leadership of black people, because all the rest of these people who have come before me don't know what they're doing. So I'm assuming leadership. Go right ahead, sir. Go right ahead, ma'am. I have no problem with you assuming leadership over me, because I definitely don't like the leader that I have now, which is a white supremacist. So take it, but you got to take it from them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's just a matter of how you're going to go about doing it. You're not taking it from me. I'm relinquishing mine. I'm not saying no. I'm not able. I'm just a victim. So if you can figure out a way to get them off of me, do it. Do it right now. I mean, I'll stand right back and watch you work out. Everything is a matter of cause and effect. So what we need is something we have never even thought about having, is a counter-racist code. That's what I've tried to write in my book, that would apply to each individual person, because this is the way it's got to be done. That's what I was trying to say last week. Each individual person has to have a code. Things that they do, things that they don't do. And we can erode the system of racism. I mean, in record time, we could take all the cement out of between those bricks, you might say, of the structure of racism, so that it would just collapse, simply because it doesn't have structure anymore, on account of we have eroded that structure by the way that we think, speak, and act on a daily basis. That's all that it really takes, because that's how it's put together. Something that is very destructive. Whatever is going to cause destruction is evil. That's basically it.
Okay.
Now, everybody is capable of doing something that is destructive. And the white supremacist wants to emphasize destructive activity, evil activity, something that's going to always have a non-constructive result among dark-skinned people. This is their goal. They don't want to see non-white people doing anything that's constructive. They panic when they see that. If you're doing anything that makes sense, they practically lose their minds. No, we can't have them like that. We got to have them in a state of mind where they're doing stupid stuff all the time, destructive stuff all the time. Anytime that you look up and dark-skinned people are coming around, something very ugly is going to happen, because they're going to make ugly things happen because we teach them to do ugly things. And we want to keep them in that frame of mind. If we lose that grasp on being able to control their behavior in a manner that they are non-constructive, except when we want them to be constructive. When we want them to be constructive for our benefit, then we'll allow them to do something constructive. But when they're among each other, see to it, watch them real close, and see to it that they don't do anything constructive. Because when they do something constructive, it means we're out of business. And we don't intend to be out of business. And what is our business? Mistreating people based on color. That's our business. That's our reason for being. That's our only reason for wanting to even breathe or be on the planet. What is the purpose of white supremacy? Mistreating people based on color for the fun, glory, and material benefit of people who are classified as white. That's the purpose of white supremacy in the modern day. Initially, it may have been another purpose, like genetic survival. But now they have been on such a roll for so long, it's for fun, glory, and material gain for the benefit of people classified as white, and for the complete confusion, destruction, and self-destruction among people classified as non-white. That's how they think the entire planet should be run forever. Don't do anything, first of all, to attract the attention. You have to be like a soldier on a battlefield. If you're a soldier on a battlefield, because that's where you are. We are all on a battlefield. We are on a battlefield. We're not in La La Land. This is not Oz. This is not Shangri-La. We are on a battlefield. And when you look up and you see anybody who might be a suspected race soldier, even 6 blocks away, have your antenna up to not attract attention, just like you would on a battlefield. You're wearing a uniform. Your uniform is your black skin. And you're not going to attract the attention of a sniper. I mean, you know, there's an enemy soldier over there in the bushes somewhere waiting on somebody like you to come along. Look at it just that way. Yes. Don't do anything to attract attention, because that sniper is going to do what a sniper does. If anybody's been in the Army or seen movies about the Army, a sniper does what a sniper does. He takes your head off.
Yes.
No question. So you got to think like that. You are walking down the street with your black skin, you might attract the attention of a sniper.
Yes.
Think that way, 24/7, all your life. That's going to happen. And when it happens again, it's going to happen again. I don't care how many demonstrations you have or how many filling stations you burn down. It's going to continue to happen. What you do, you cannot attract that kind of attention. Mothers have to teach their offspring. We're in a war. We are in a war. If you don't know where you are, you're in a war. You're in a war. Anybody spotted with a gun in a war is subject to die instantly, or with anything that looks like a gun, period. Christmas morning, I mean, you got cap guns and whatnot under the Christmas tree. You go outside with one of those guns and whatnot, you're subject to die. Every mother has to understand that. Every father. Otherwise, you're just going to keep crying over these funerals. You have to understand the kind of world you're in. You can't be nonchalant about that.
Yes,
you're not in Oz. You're in a hostile world. You're surrounded by hostility. You always wake up every morning knowing that you're in a war. That's the first order of business. We're not in peacetime. There's no such thing as that. We're in the middle of a war that never has been stopped. There's no such thing as peace being declared. People declare peace, but I'm talking about in a functional sense.
Yes, sir.
In reality, ever since the beginning of white supremacy, which is what I call the war, that's the only war that really counts. That's the war, that's the umbrella war of the entire planet. It's never stopped since the day that it was established. And everything that happens in a war is just a battle. And so the the different battles are going on in different fronts. I mean, Ferguson and this and that, but the battles happen every day.
Right.
Every time there's an encounter of conflict between one white person and a non-white person.
Yes.
Every encounter is a part of the war.
Yes, sir.
In
Yes.
fact, even the most, what you might call bland or peaceful encounters, it's an encounter because there's a war going on between white and non-white.
Yes, sir.
Worldwide.
Yes, sir.
It's never stopped.
Never.
I mean, and people say, well, I work with white people every day. We get along fine and all like that. You're in a war, whether you know it or not, because the white supremacists who are running everything have never said that we are declaring a peace. We are continuing the system of white supremacy. So just because there are individual people who are smiling and laughing and joking and whatnot, and they're going to football games together and waving pennants and all like that, doesn't say that there's not a war going on that is never stopped. So what we need is codification to wrap this war up. It's got to be accelerated, and that's what I try to write with my book, the textbook for victims of white supremacy. We have to accelerate the pace in ridding the world of racism and replacing it with a world of justice. Kill, kill, kill. Find another black person, walk around, looking around, spotting another black person 2 blocks away.
Don't fuck with me!
Gravitate toward that person and find a reason to kill that person. We had an incident right here in Washington just a week or so ago where that old adage, that old, you might say, part of what you call black culture, what are you looking at me for? What are you looking at me for? I'll kill you, black person that looks just like me, because you looked at me. Now, white people look at you all day. White people look at you all day, or they don't look at you because they don't even notice you because you're not that important. But here's some black person that you say, he's looking at me. What is he doing looking at me? And that's after going out of your way with a lot of us, let's tell the truth now, to get attention, doing everything you can to get attention, and then when somebody gives you the attention, what are you looking at me for? You don't know me. And then bang, because that's what happened the other day. Bang, bang, bang. I'll kill you. I'll kill you, person who looks like me. Why? Because you looked at me. That's why. I will kill you because you looked at me. Now, what is the look supposed to do? Well, you looked at me. Well, what is looking at you got to do with anything? Well, I don't know. I don't know why I do anything. I'm black. I ain't got no reason for what I do. I just do stuff. Just walk around on the street all day like a zombie, looking for something to do, and usually it's something that makes no sense at all. Now, that's not all black people by any means, particularly throughout the entire world, but in the northwestern hemisphere, that's a part of the culture that's been passed on. I heard stuff like that back in the early 1940s at least. And apparently, Marcus Garvey knew all about it back in the 1920s. This is 2016. We need to examine what we call black culture in fine detail and stop skirting around it. and find out exactly what is the root cause of all of this. Of course, the root cause, in my opinion, is a system of white supremacy, which teaches black people that what you want to do in your life is find a reason to hurt yourself and other black people as much as you possibly can if you got color in your skin. That's the message that the white supremacists send to black people, particularly young black people, about their future. What you want to do with your life, since you don't have an idea of what to do anyway, I'll tell you, is find somebody that looks like you, try to hurt them as much as you can, and in the process hurt yourself as much as you can, and just get the hell out of our way. Because we're the only people that really count. The white people who believe in white supremacy. Well, most white people don't even like to talk to black people because, just on the conversation alone. Just on that. Most white people cut you off real short. They don't have time for no random conversation. They'll mention, how the Raiders going to do and something like that. That's about it. They do not, most white men, and it's certainly not white women, have conversation with black people, period. Because they know we ain't talking about nothing that they need to hear. Now, if they think that you are a thinker and that you are a doer, that you get things done, they'll come looking for you to talk to you. But for the most part, they don't want to have no conversation. They sit next to you on the bus and whatnot. They haul out a newspaper. And then hide their face behind it so you don't even look at them. And they definitely don't want to look at you.
I have seen that. I have seen that. Yeah, I again, as I said, I have seen this repeatedly, and I encourage non-white people to do that. In fact, a non-white person asked me, how would you go about talking to white people about racism? And I told them, you don't have to do that if you're a victim. You can just talk to them if you're trying to get a cheap plane ticket somewhere. White people should be able to help you out with that. If you're trying to get a mortgage or anything constructive.
Oh, yeah, and when you hear them talking to each other, listen. Because in many cases, they are handing out constructive information. You pick up on things that you don't hear otherwise. But you just about know what you're going to hear from black people.
That's how the fuck we do it in the corner. And y'all niggas next. Word of my mother, nigga. Black, nigga. Fuck, nigga. Goddamn little homie. Goddamn little homie. Look at my face.
Usually it's not very constructive.
Wholeheartedly agree.
Yes, you pass by 3 black people standing on the corner and you pass by them and the conversation is really depressing. Hey, man, I told the MF. Well, I ain't no fool. He come up getting in my face. I told him he better not do that again. That's what you hear, just in passing them on the street.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, so, he fooling around with that woman and coming over, bringing her over to my house. They sitting down there, they eating my food. I told them, don't be coming back over there no more, Yeah, I told them, How long have I been hearing that? Over and over again, year after year, decade after decade. The conversations are nothing but conflict or something depressing. Just passing them. Just passing by the average black person. Just hanging out, standing there holding a conversation. Now, you go another block, and there's 2 white men there having a conversation, wearing hard hats. They're probably in, construction supervisors or something like that. See? They're saying, yeah, Brian, now, on this deal that we got going over on this 18th Street project. You know. Now, are we going to need blueprints for that? See, this, you know, you're just passing by, but that's the kind of conversation you'll hear. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I mean, you just pass. It's just a brief conversation, you know, or you got on the elevator with them, the freight elevator or something. I mean, and you know, and that's what you hear on the freight elevator between two white men talking. Yeah, Brian. So you come over and pick up the blueprints now, and that's on the 18th Street project. See, and we'll get started on that right away. We can do that, you know, in a couple of weeks. If we should have it off and running, you know. Say, okay, I'll see you, you know, and then he gets off there. Then black people get on. Yeah, man, I told him if, you know. I mean, he ain't the only one got a gun, you know. Lots of people got guns, and I definitely got 2 or 3 of them, you know. You come over here getting in my face again like he did last Thursday, I'll show him something. Then they get off the elevator. I mean, you know, 2 different worlds altogether. Well, I simply say that white supremacy is the most powerful of all of the religions when it comes to non-white people. Non-white people try to practice a number of religions: Judaism, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, Buddhism, Confucianism, black Mormons, I guess somewhere maybe black Amish people or non-white, you know, Amish people. There might be some groups of people who are like that. But the white supremacists have the strongest and most powerful religion. And they go around and examine all of the dark people of the world to see what religions they are practicing or what religions they say that they are trying to practice. Christianity, Judaism, Islam, etc., 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 plus all of the hundreds of tribal religions. Some of them, you know, names I can't even recognize and whatnot. But they say that these are their religions.
Okay.
And so the white supremacists will examine everybody's religion who is a person of color.
Okay.
And they will see if there's anything in that religion that's a danger to the religion of white supremacy. And they will say, oh, you're going to have to take that out of your religion. And so far, it has been proven, and you can check and see, that the non-white people always take that part out of their religion. And the white supremacists tell them, so what you better do.
So then the answer...
I don't agree with that part of your religion because that's bad for my business.
Okay.
I'm simply saying, in simple terms, the white supremacists, if you're black, will come and look at whatever your religion is. And they will say, okay, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. You can do everything except this, and this.
Okay.
And then if I'm practicing what I call my own religion, I'll say, well, wait a minute, but you're messing up my religion. I mean, you just can't come and do that. And they will say, oh, I can't? Well, you violate what I just said. You in practicing your religion, says, thou shalt do this and thou shalt do that and all like that. In any of the areas of activity, economics, education, sex, or whatnot, you got these religious things that you say that you practice that involved in sex, and you are a person of color, you're a black person, and you say your religion tells you not to do this when it comes to sex. I'm telling you to do this when it comes to sex.
Okay.
Or you're going to be in trouble with me.
Okay.
Now, you know, I don't care about you or your God. You don't get in trouble with me, boy.
Woo!
Or girl.
Okay.
I mean, so you take this out of your religion. If I catch you trying to practice this part of your religion, I'm going to come down on you with both feet.
All right.
And everything else, and you know it.
Okay.
And so the average black person, it has been proven, the average person of color says, what? Yowza.
Yowza.
We don't say it in those words. We don't verbalize it and all, but we very quietly don't do that anymore. Why? Because the master of the supreme religion on this planet among the people said so. Just more of the same of what you're looking at now, and becoming more and more sophisticated, more backstabbing, more black people walking around like zombies, not knowing what to do, not knowing what to value, not knowing what's important, not knowing the difference between a male and a female. Just stone, obliteration of the mind. Complete. No value system of any kind. Just going around doing things like robots, like Frankensteins. On the course that we're on now, because of we don't have a vision, and people who don't have a vision, I'm saying, like I said in my book, because people have asked me this down through the years, what is it that we should want, Mr. Fuller? And I said, well, we should want to be what people ought to be, if we can ever find out what that is. And so that's an evolving process. So we'll put a label on it, said we should be evolving toward universal man and universal woman. Now, what would that look like? We really don't know, but it would be the very best that there is in a most constructive manner. And the only way you know the difference between something constructive and something non-constructive is by trial and error. So you always try to do the constructive thing in every area of activity. In economics, what's the most constructive way to use your time and energy? Because that's the compensatory definition for economics, the use of time and energy. So what's the most constructive thing to do each and every minute of each and every day in the use of your time and energy? And then in the field of education, what's the most constructive way to educate people? It's important to just understand all of the things that the white supremacists do, because anything that you miss, that whatever you miss about the way they go about doing things, that's what's going to eventually trip you up. They already know that. I mean, the system of white supremacy is very, very, very finely tuned, like a smooth-running automobile engine. It's very fine-tuned, and they're always checking to see that that engine is running smoothly. If they hear any rattles or anything, I mean, they go and check on it immediately, because it's not supposed to happen. I mean, they want a smooth operation. And the refinement stage of white supremacy means they do it so smoothly that the average black person, the average non-white person will say, white supremacy, that doesn't exist. What's that fool talking about? What are these stupid people talking about some white supremacy? I do what I want to do. I go where I want to go. Nobody tell me what to do. You know, so then the white supremacist was to look at that black person and say, that's exactly the way we want all of them to think, that we don't even exist. That everything, that they're running everything, that black people run the world. That's the way we want them to think. That is the ultimate in the refinement stage of white supremacy. See, white supremacy goes through 4 stages. The first stage is establishment. I don't know when it was established. Some people say 600 years ago. Some people say 400 years. Some people say, no, 2,000 years. Then there are other people, depending on what scholar you talk to, say, oh, no, 6,000 years. That's when they really got established, 6,000 years ago. All right? That's a long time. Now, I say I don't know, but I do know that they are in business now, the biggest business on earth. No business is bigger than that, the system of white supremacy.
Okay.
So I'm saying, I don't know when it's established, but it was established. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation. That's number one. And then the second stage is maintenance. Just like anything that you start, you want to maintain it. You want to go around, if you put together an aircraft or something like that, you come around and check. Or you put together an air conditioning system or a plumbing system, you come and check it every now and then, see if it's running smoothly. That's what you call maintenance.
Okay.
Yeah, you Yeah, you see it, everything is in place. And then expansion is when you take in more people. The expansion.
That's the third
white
stage?
supremacy. And there's more people on the planet now than there was, say, 10,000 years ago or 200 years ago. More people on the planet. And most of them are non-white. So you're getting more and more people, you know, as your capital, you might say, in your business. You're taking in more and more slaves because they're being born. More people are being born all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they're being born in your prison. All right, that makes your prison expand. All right, you make more room for them in your prison. Okay, and then the last stage, and this is the stage they want to stay in, refinement. You make your prison look like it's not a prison where the prisoners are concerned. Now you got a smooth operation situation.
Okay.
All right, where you have people walking around saying, nobody tells me what to do. I'm my own man. I'm 21 years old. I'm grown. All right, I ain't no child. I mean, you know, I go and do what I please, when I please, whatever I please,
Mm-hmm.
and have the non-white females doing the same thing.
Okay.
That's a perfect situation for a prison master.
Okay, let me get this straight. Establishment, maintenance, expansion, and refinement.
Establishment, maintenance, expansion, and refinement.
Okay.
Now, they're trying to stay in the refinement stage.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, a lot of black people are saying, wait a minute. We're in a system of racism. You can't fool me about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, racism does exist.
Okay.
Racism is real.
Racism,
Now,
real.
you got a whole lot of black people who are saying that now.
Okay.
Not all over the world. Not near as many as should be. Nowhere near as many.
Okay.
But you have a substantial number.
All
Now,
right.
that disturbs the white supremacist business. Because in the refinement stage, you're not supposed to be aware that there is such a thing as racism.
Correct.
All right? It's supposed to be so smooth. So they are arguing among themselves now. The white supremacists are.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
see, I mean, I told you to keep this thing in the refinement stage. Now you got others that are saying, no, it's kind of getting out of hand. We got to start using the hammer and the fist. We got to start gunning them down like we did in the old days. We got to be right in their face 24 hours a day.
Okay.
They said, yeah, that'll work for a little while, but all that'll do is stir them up.
Yeah.
You don't want to stir them up. You don't want to woke them up. Let these Negroes sleep on. Don't woke them up. Let them sleep on.
Mm-hmm.
All right, keep them asleep. That's
Okay.
the refinement stage.
Refinement.
That way you can lay down and go to sleep, and they'll be waiting on you hand and foot, thinking that they're serving each other, thinking that they're serving themselves.
Mhm.
That's what you want, a smooth running machine.
All right.
There is a system of white supremacy, which is racism, which is designed to do what? Dominate and mistreat people of color. Anybody who is classified as black, brown, red, yellow, tan, beige, has a little bit of color in his or her skin, or somebody said that they did, even if a person looks white, but they say that, well, you got a great grandmother that had some color. All right. Oh, okay. Well, they're in the mistreatment category, right? Yep. Those are the people that you're supposed to mistreat because they got color in their skin. You know, if they got color in their skin, they're supposed to be mistreated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, something is out of order if they're not being mistreated now. You got to mistreat those people that's got color in their skin. Well, why is that? You know, because I said so. Is that the reason? Yeah. That's all it took.
That's all it took. Wow.
And it's a lot of benefits that go with it. See? It's a lot of benefits that go with that. Mistreating people based on color, having a whole category of people, black, brown, red, yellow, tan, beige, just have some color in their skin, and you can do anything you want to with that person, and nobody's supposed to say anything about it. Isn't that a wonderful proposition? Have somebody wait on you hand and foot, do whatever you say do, think the way you want them to think, on account of the color of their skin. Don't you think that that's a wonderful thing to have when you got millions of people like that right there at your beck and call? Ain't that wonderful? Yeah, well, but that, you know, that sounds like that ain't right. Well, we're not talking about right and wrong now. We're talking about what's convenient. Oh, well, it is convenient. Well, then, that's all we need to think about. What's convenient? All right? I mean, that's natural. That's normal. People like to do what's convenient, and racism is convenient for any person classified as white. All right? End of story. Period. And so the average white person takes a look at that and say, well, what if we didn't have racism? Then that means you don't have a category of people that you can mistreat and get away with. Do anything you want to with. Use any kind of way you want to. Underpay them. Don't pay them at all. I mean, you know, you going to give that up? Give it up for what? What are you going to have if you give it up? Well, you got a point there. Yeah, I'll go with racism. So the average white person has every incentive to be a racist.
I see. Okay.
That's the bottom line that I want to, you know, get to.
Okay.
Every white person, when given that kind of option, do you want the option of having people at your beck and call, people kissing your foot anytime you tell them to, and it ain't nothing they can do about it except kiss it? Isn't that a convenience? Well, you put it that way, it is. Now, you want to give it up and just have to everybody equal, which means you're going to have to work harder. You ain't got nobody to push around. When you get mad, you don't have nobody that you can go over across town and kick or shoot and whatnot. You just have to try to work it out. I mean, you don't have that convenience, you know. Well, yeah, I see your point. I see your point. Yes, I see your point. That's a wonderful point. Well, I know it ain't right, but it's convenient, like you say, and we'll worry about the right later. I mean, you know.
Okay.
I mean, if ever.
If ever.
And that's all racism is, folks.
Okay.
That's all it is. It's a super convenience if you're white. Now, if I understand the question, have I been harassed?
Yes.
Because of my book? No, I haven't. What has happened is I've been ignored. So I say, yes, I've been harassed in that way. See, the white supremacists are very shrewd. When they believe that, and this is just my belief, when they believe you're right on point and that they're allowing you to be on point, the first thing they do is not pay attention to you. And that's anybody, not just me. They pay attention to who's listening and seeing if anybody is listening and acting on what you're saying. And if they check that out and see that nobody is acting on it, because nobody really understands what you're doing or not interested in what you're doing or what you're saying and not acting on what is being said, that's the main thing. They look for the action. They don't care about the theories. You can talk about, you can have all the theories you want to. You can stand and make speeches all day. I mean, every day. You know, they don't care. What they do is, what's going to be the result? So far, they have looked at the results of my work, and they say, nobody's paying any attention to him. So we won't mention him, and the other people are not mentioning what he's doing or his book, which is what it is. It's not about him. It's what he wrote. Nobody's acting on it. So what? In other words, it's just like any criminal enterprise. If nobody's chasing us, if people are talking about we are doing stuff we shouldn't be doing, but nobody's doing anything about it, nobody's, they have analyzed it, and they talk about it. They say we're running this criminal operation and whatnot called white supremacy, but it's not taking any effect. Our slaves still go about doing what they always do, just get up in the morning and try to entertain each other. That's mostly what black people do, entertain each other and whatnot. So everything is, business as usual. We're right on course. We won't worry about nobody like Neely Fuller or nobody else. Doesn't make any difference who it is. Luther King and whatnot, I mean, he got to be a problem, all right? So when like in any criminal operation, see, when something gets to be a problem, maybe we have to whack somebody. Maybe we have to take care of somebody. We have to put a hit on somebody. And we'll put a hit on, and we got different ways of putting hits on people. I mean, we just let Marcus Garvey, this go back to Jamaica and die quietly. After he started his steamship line, he thought he was on a roll. He had people marching in the streets and whatnot back in the old days and all like that, talking about Negro improvement, whatnot. But he died a broken person, and we saw to that. And, okay, you got another one coming up? Okay, Malcolm X or whomever, we'll be ready for him too. I mean, we know when to knock them down, okay? We don't like to put hits on it, like Solazzo said in the movie The Godfather. I don't like blood, Tom. Blood is a big expense, all right? In other words, it attracts too much attention and whatnot. So we don't want to beat up black people in the street, not in the refinement stage. A lot of us do, but some of us that get out of line, even the white supremacists put them in their place. So you're bad for business.
Yes.
You're around here, yelling the N-word all up and down the street. You don't want to do that. We're trying to be refined. We got a smooth operation here. We got these black people eating out of our hands. We got them doing all kinds of stupid stuff. That's what we want them to do. Be devoted to stupidity 24/7. And we got generations of them now, a couple of generations, maybe 3 or 4, just devoted to wholesale stupidity. Just walking around doing stupid stuff all day long, worshiping stupidity. That's the way we want them. And you around here calling them the N-word, you're going to make them get smart. We don't want no smart black people nowhere on this planet. So even though you're white, we're going to put a hit on you if you keep doing it. And they do that. They kill each other. They think nothing of it if you're bad for business.
Alrighty.
If you're white.
Okay.
I mean, hey, don't run around here calling these people the N-word when I got them working for me for nothing. And then you're going to stir them up. If they notice that I'm using that kind of language about them, they might start noticing other things I'm doing to them. And when you're subject to a system where the system is designed to be insulting, and that's the system of racism, and all non-white people are subject to that system, that's my evaluation, then you can expect to be insulted each and every day, either directly or indirectly, even when you don't think you're being insulted, even when the insulting language is not used. You're still being insulted by being subject to an insulting system, because the system of racism is insulting, and that's the only system that we've ever known. And when I say we, I mean the people who are classified as non-white. The white supremacists, and that's the correct title for them, of this planet, are the dominant political and religious force and economic force, if you want to use the term economics. I don't use it within that context, but they are the dominant people on the planet when it comes to non-white people. So non-white people can expect. We shouldn't get jolted when we're insulted or call names, anything like that. You can't, there's no way to pretty it up anyway. And when people do try to pretty up an incorrect system, then they're going more into the realm of illusion. And that is going to engender more frustration, confusion, and ultimately disappointment and anger. Because you can't walk around trying to evade reality. We're in a racist system. We're not in any other system. Racism is not something that people encounter every now and then. We're in a racist system. The entire system is racist. There's no part of the system that is not racist. In every area of activity, economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Now what does that mean? It means that the people who have chosen to be racist, meaning white supremacists, have become the most powerful political and religious people on the planet when it comes to non-white people. People who are classified as black, brown, red, yellow, tan, beige, etc., etc. And so therefore, that's an insulting system. And so black people have gotten to the place, particularly in the modern times, since what we call the post-chattel slavery, black people expect to be respected. That's why black people kill each other, many of them, many of the younger black people more than anybody, about this thing called dissing or being disrespected. You're in a disrespectful system, and all the killing that black people do among each other all the time, saying you're disrespecting me, therefore I have to kill you so that you won't disrespect me anymore. And then you run right into the same thing again and again and again. How many bodies can you stack up? Because you are being disrespected in a disrespectful system. If you're classified as black, you're not supposed to be respected. You're on a slave ship. The entire planet is a slave ship. It's not called that, but that's basically what it is. And the destination of that ship is just its own destination, meaning subjugation to the system of racism. There's no black person anywhere on the planet who is not subject to the system of racism. So you wake up in the morning, go through the day, and go to bed that night, and all through the night while you're asleep, you're being disrespected. You're being insulted because you have been put into a prison based on your color. That is one of the biggest insults, not only that a person can receive, but it's really a slap in the face and an attempted insult to the creator of the universe. But the white supremacists don't care about that. They don't mind insulting the creator of the universe. They'll say, I don't like your creation. You made all these black, brown, red, and yellow people and put them among me. I'm supposed to have the planet to myself. And since they're here, though, I will insult them and I will kick them around. Your product, even though I am your product, I don't want to be bothered with these other products that you made. So actually, they are not only at war with the black people of this planet, they're at war with their creator and with ours. Unless I've been misinformed. Because the white supremacists, those white people, not talking about all white people, talking about the most powerful white people who believe in the system of white supremacy, prevent that from happening. That's the answer. They don't want that to happen. They don't want anything that's going to be uplifting, you might say, to use that term, of non-white people to happen anywhere on this planet. And anytime they see something that's going to be constructive happening among non-white people, they step in. Black people are always talking about, well, we need to improve ourselves. We need to do this. Marcus Garvey talked about it. Give me a little capital so that I can get a shipping line, and so that our people will not be beggars. So that the Negroes, that we have here, that's what we were called then, will not be beggars, will not be robbers and thieves. That you'll be able to walk the streets in Harlem and whatnot, and all the other places where black people are. And you can be safe because black people will not rob and steal from you because they have plenty of everything. They no longer want to do that. Most people are like that. Once they have things, they don't go around doing things like robbing and stealing people on the streets and all like that. So we can prevent that by seeing to it that people have the things that they need. So they are not out in the streets. They're at home enjoying themselves. And we're looking at the money coming in and whatnot. They're not thinking about harming anyone or anything like that. That's what we want. So I want to start a shipping line where we can go back and forth to Africa and all like that. And the white supremacist said, don't you know that if we wanted you to do that, we would have thought of that ourselves, Marcus, and all the rest of you black people who are always talking about going into business, do you think that you are going to go into business on my planet without dealing with me? And I'm already in the business of keeping you in your place, and your place is under my foot. I could put you in business overnight, all of you. I could put you all in business. I don't intend to do that, and I don't intend for you to do it on your own. And if you start out doing it, I'll give it lip service and all like that, like I'll help you, but I'll only help you up to a point. And then I will take over your business or I will crush it. That's the deal. And everybody who is in business, all the black people, who are what you might call being successful in business, at some point, the white supremacists step in and say, okay, you have reached a point now where you're fixing to get out from under my control. And that's not going to happen. And then it becomes officially codified. Why? Because it's the only logical way to go about doing it. That's why. You don't have no other options. If you got options, you put the options in there. It's not an option. Why? Based on logic. Based on the logic of what? You can't tell who's a racist and who isn't. You can't really testify under oath that a person is not a racist. A person may do that, but that's a gamble. Because non-white people have been fooled too many times by racists who came bearing gifts and declaring that they are not racist. I don't have a racist bone in my body. Oh yeah, that's what you're saying. Well, what reason do I have to believe you? Because I said so, and I got plenty of other people. Plenty of other people like whom? Well, there's a lot of black people who say that I'm not racist. Well, suppose you have fooled them. Oh, come on. I mean, you got to believe something. Yeah, I believe you could be a racist. That's what I believe. Because racism still exists. But nobody can ever find one. White people and black people say racism still exists. It's still a major problem. Everybody agrees on that. But you say, well, who are these racists? Where do they live? And all like that. Oh, they're out there somewhere. Well, does anybody have an idea who they are by name? Everybody goes silent. Can you find a few? Yeah, I think it's one or two up there in Utah somewhere, you know. Well, according to what I've written in the code book, black people are not qualified to celebrate anything. Prisoners are not in a celebratory condition. Black people are prisoners of war. The non-white people of the planet in the system of white supremacy were born in captivity. We're still born in captivity, all of us. Everybody of color on the planet is born in captivity. Captivity to whom? To racist man and racist woman, the white supremacists of this planet. You're born inside of their prison because they dictate what you do in all 9 areas of activity and what you don't do. Economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. They dictate this to all of the non-white people on the planet. Mm-hmm. And so you have to think, speak, and act according to what they allow you to do. So you're in prison. And so you're not, prisoners are not qualified. They can go ahead and do it, but you're not qualified to celebrate anything. But the white supremacists love for their prisoners to celebrate everything. including being in prison. Celebrate that.
Yeah.
Okay? Have fun. Get out there in the prison yard, and I mean, hey, just turn flips and sing and dance and play banjo. Slaves are always encouraged to do this. Entertain yourselves. Entertain yourselves until you drop. But just be back on that job come Monday.
Yeah.
All right? All that is just like what prisoners do. What do prisoners do? I mean, every chance they get walking around in the prison yard, they start a riot. They fight each other. They tear up everything around each other. And then they have to do what? Wimp out and go back to their cells. And then the prison masters say, okay, you had your little fun now. Now get back in your little cell. I'm going to give you all solitary confinement. I'm going to punish you. But you will learn, because I'm going to cut off everybody's food now. Like they do when we riot. They cut off jobs, they cut off food. We burn up the neighborhood and whatnot. And then we sit and look at the ashes like in the movie Do the Right Thing. And then we suddenly realize we can't build nothing. And not even allowed to build nothing. So then, now what do? You walk 16 blocks to get a quart of milk for grandma and stand in line arguing with other black people about who got there first. And then even start a fight about that with other black people. Now, this is all by design, folks. The white supremacists know what we are going to do before we do it. Why? Because they have plans for every black person on this planet. And they make plans 10, 15, 50 years ahead. And black people don't have a plan for what they're going to do in the next 2 weeks. And that's the truth. We have to be true, tell ourselves the truth. Because you can't straighten out anything without telling yourself the truth about your own flaws and your own weaknesses. And be able to admit that when somebody is stronger than you or smarter than you, that you've been beaten down and you've been outsmarted. And so far, that is the plight of black people worldwide, not just in South Side and West Side Chicago, but everywhere in the world. Johannesburg, Brazil, you name it. Anywhere you find people of color. And the darker they are, the more oppressed they are. And the more they are prone to turn on each other. Why? That's logical. I mean, you're in the prison yard. There's nobody in the prison yard but other prisoners. You're on the slave ship. There's nobody on the slave ship below deck but other slaves. So what do? You start a fight. All people do that. White people would do that if just a bunch of them on a boxcar heading to the death camp. And then the food runs out. What else they going to do? Oh, respectful. Well, let's deal with that. Well, according to what I have written myself, it's impossible for anybody to give me respect. That can't be done anyway. Respect. Okay. And there's another word that goes before the word respect, according to the code. And that word it's a four-letter word. S-E-L-L.
Okay.
Self-respect. Now, self-respect is what I give to myself. That's the only type of respect that's worthy of the term respect. Whenever you say respect, you're talking about self-respect. So self-respect comes from yourself. Now, what is the definition, the compensatory definition for self-respect? All right, according to the code, and it's in the code book, self-respect is, or respect itself is, just one thing: refusing to lie to yourself. Don't tell yourself lies. You're throwing respect out the window. There's no respect involved nowhere when you go around telling yourself things that are not true, that you know are not true. Now you have lost self-respect. And you don't ever, another thing about respect, use of the word respect. Words are very important. You never ask anyone to respect you. There's three things you don't ask for. You never ask for respect, you never ask for an apology, and you never ask for love. Ever.
Okay.
From anybody. Ever. Don't let those words ever come out of your mouth that you ask somebody to respect you. Respect comes from yourself. It doesn't come from somebody else. Other people can be discourteous and all like that. That's on them. That has nothing to do with you. You don't care what they say. Let them shout, curse, throw things at the wall, whatnot. I mean, that's their business. And that's a part of what you call compensatory conversation control. Okay? Yes. See, if you beg somebody for respect, please respect me. Please apologize to me. Please love me. These things, for one thing, respect only comes from yourself, and apologies and love is something that people give voluntarily. Those other two things, apologies and love. You never ask anybody for an apology. Why? According to logic. Because it doesn't mean anything if you have to ask for it.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, it's when people come to you and say, I apologize for what I said to you the other day. That's when it has value.
Okay.
When you have to beat a person over the head and say, apologize to me, or I'm going to inflict injury on you, I'm going to say terrible things about you, or I'm going to do something to you, you better apologize. But person say, okay, I apologize. I apologize for slavery, all right? I apologize for all the things I'm going to do to you next week or this evening. And in fact, I will load you up with with apologies. I mean, and you'll have them in advance. How many do you need? The usual suspects, the white supremacists. The white supremacists have to come up with ways of having people, their subjects, tame at all times, just like you tame animals, or you train animals to be tame when you're around, and to go crazy when you're not around, and turn on each other, like dog fights. And that's what black people do in all the cities. You can see that. I mean, trying to run up the murder rate. Black people wake up in the morning and stick, young black males put their 9mm, down in their sock and around their waistband, and have one down in their cargo pants. Might have 3 guns, okay? And they feel powerful enough to do what? To make trouble for themselves, and certainly to make havoc with other people that look exactly like them. All of the boys that they went to school with and all like that, hunting each other down. This is their full-time job. In order to do what? Shoot at each other. Why? Because somebody put that in a video game and it looked cool. Not stopping to think, now is this the most constructive activity I can contribute to my 17 years of existence on this planet, my 34 years of existence on this planet? Is this all I can think about? Is there anything else anywhere on the planet or in the universe that I can think about that would make some kind of sense other than doing this? And then the females going around finger popping and chewing gum and looking wide-eyed and bumping into things, and then, well, hey, this is life, and this is what I choose to do, and this is the greatest thing that ever was or ever will be, is being a member of the Bad Girls Club. So, what is this all about? It's all according to the white supremacist plan. That's what it's all about. And it's supposed to be what? Falling under the category of what? Non-constructive activity. And then the white supremacists, who are not engaged in overall in constructive activity, because everything they do is just about dominating and mistreating people based on color. That's their whole reason for breathing. If black people look like they're getting to the place they don't much like cocaine, we'll come up with something else. We got about 15 dozen other items that we can feed them, and they're always looking for something new. Under the system of white supremacy, you can expect these things. These things are to be expected. Now, you can expect when they start out, to the extent that the white supremacist has anything to do with it. See, I can't say, according to the code, I cannot say that the Virginia or the North Carolina legislature and the people who are doing this by name, I can't name the people who are doing this and call them racist. I will say that if it has anything to do with non-white people that is detrimental, then whomever the racists are, even if they're on the moon, they are to blame if it is somehow detrimental. If it's somehow non-constructive, you always blame the white supremacists for anything that happens in the system of white supremacy that shouldn't happen. So if people are being drugged up like this, the black people don't know anything about drugs. We've said that like for ages. You know, cocaine and all like that, we didn't know anything about that. We didn't know how to use it in a detrimental way on a grand scale like the white supremacists have done.
Mm-hmm.
So if they have come up with new types of drugs, and they probably have hundreds of types and hundreds of different variations of detrimental drugs, which are just chemicals, by the way. They can mix and match them and whatnot in a laboratory and whatnot and say, let's go try this on the black people. Okay, well, let's try drug A, and then we'll try drug Q 5 years down the road. Now, when we try them out, we'll get them hooked on it. Then we will condemn them for being hooked on it, and then we'll tell them that they're unfit, antisocial, and therefore disqualified for the job. And then we'll go to the next stage saying that, you know what, since you're so drugged up and your children are so drugged up and everybody you know is so drugged up, you all come in next Thursday. And I'm not going to punish you because, after all, you are sick. But since you are a bunch of sick people, and you're kind of worthless, really, because you're unreliable on account of these drugs that you have chosen to take, thinking that will solve all your problems, and it just made a whole lot more problems. But you all come in, and I'll have mercy on you, and I'll just see to it that you don't have any offspring. So that'll be the next drug I'll give you. Come in, and all you dark-skinned people come in here and get sterilized, because you're not going to do anything but produce a whole bunch of worthless children. And that's already been proven. You yourself say that your children are worthless. You even express how much they're worthless by, if I turn my back as your master for 5 minutes, you start killing each other. That's all you know what to do with each other. You don't know how to do anything with each other but kill each other and call each other names all day. You're constantly searching for newer and better names to call each other. You want to fight on the buses. You want to fight on the streets. So I'm just going to sterilize a bunch of you.
Wow.
And I'll be doing you a favor.